All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, Robert Saleh just wrapped up his morning press conference, and there's a lot of stuff to dive into. Okay, first off, he said that the New York Jets will not be trading Elijah Moore before the NFL trade deadline, which is November 1st at 4 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so a little less than 2 weeks away. According to Saleh, the Jets are not doing it, despite the trade request, despite the cryptic tweets, despite the frustration with the team, his frustration with the role within the offense, the overall production, despite the outburst at practice with Mike LaFleur, which essentially led to him being, removed from practice. He's not going to be traded. Saleh almost doubled down on that statement, basically just saying, hey, you know what? Elijah's not a bad guy. He's a part of the plan, essentially fits the system. And to get where we want to get, Elijah Moore is going to be a part of that. I think right off the bat, it's a mistake to just close the door on a potential trade. I think as a general manager, as an organization, if you have a player that is already at this point where he's putting in a trade request over just this season, right? Because last year, Elijah Moore was targeted a lot. He had a good rookie season. He definitely looked like a solid building block, a guy that we can rely and count on for not only this season, but for years to come. The guy's only in his second year of his NFL career. Second round pick, second year, and he's already wanting out. And I get being frustrated. I get not being involved so much, and you want to make an impact, and your skill level, and you know how good of a player you can be. You want to contribute in one way or another. I understand that from Moore's perspective, but to go as far, it's just a laundry list of things. Again, the cryptic tweets, the outbursts of practice, and then to go as far as to put in an actual trade request and to see, his buddy, AJ Brown tweet out the freed Elijah thing. Are you that just completely rubs me the wrong way. We're through 6 games and he's kind of throwing his hands up. I know there's been a lot of links to Jamal Adams and everything like that, but I said this in today's video, right? I posted one earlier talking about 5 teams that I feel like make a lot of sense for Elijah Moore. If you guys, I'll find that video, I'll leave it linked down below in the description. But I basically said when Jamal Adams quit essentially on the Jets, he was the best strong safety in football. He was with the Jets for years. He was upset with not only just the losing, right, the constant losing, but with just with really the lack of good players. He said dogs and everything like that, but lack of good players, lack of talent around him. It just didn't really seem like there was any end to it, right? When were the Jets going to start winning a bunch of games? When were the Jets going to compete for a divisional crown? That's really why Jamal Adams wanted out. But at least he kind of, you can make an argument, he paid his dues a little bit. And, he was the best strong safety in football. I've seen some Jalen Ramsey stuff as well. Jalen Ramsey, when he got traded away to the LA Rams from Jacksonville, he was the best corner in football and spent years of losing. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying that, just it's fine to just request a trade if your team is losing. You just have to give it a 2-year, waiting period or anything like that. I personally don't like trade requests, but, I've never been in that position. So I think for Jamal, it makes a little more sense when you put yourself in his shoes compared to Elijah Moore's situation, where, again, it's been through 6 games. There's been games where it's been pouring rain. The weather has not been all that great. There's been games where look at last week. Zach Wilson completed 10 passes. 10 completions overall. I think it's unfair to just say, oh, you know what, I'm not a role in the offense anymore, I'm out. So it just completely rubs me the wrong way. And again, I got to be honest, if I'm Joe Douglas, I'm not just closing the door and saying, we're not trading him, we're going to figure it out. I would leave it open. I think that's just the responsible. If the Rams call, if the Bears call, if the Packers call and say, hey, what's going on with Elijah Moore? We saw you requested a trade. Would you take a 2nd round pick? Would you take a 3rd round pick and a futures pick? I don't want Joe Douglas to hang up the phone prematurely, okay? Next. Moore's not going to be playing in the Broncos game. I feel like everybody kind of saw this coming given what has happened over these past couple of days, but he's not going to be playing. Denzel Mims is going to be activated, so I'm actually really excited to see Denzel, what he can do. I also feel like Jeff Smith will probably be more involved than normal, but what's super strange about this entire thing, Adam Schefter reported earlier today that Elijah Moore's practice, like he's back with the Jets. He's at the Jets facility. Saleh says today that, yeah, Elijah Moore is here, but he's not going to be practicing with the team. The team is treating him like an injured player, and he's going to be working by himself for not only just today, but over the next 3 days. And the reason why Saleh is not going to be playing him on Sunday is not because of, punishment or any sort of thing like that. It's not like out of revenge or spite. You put in a trade request, fine, we're going to bench you. It's, again, according to Saleh here, he doesn't want to play more in his current mental state. It would just be a disservice to Elijah to put someone to expect, like a productive game from a guy like that, given what has happened. So, I mean, really, I feel like the best question to ask here is what's the plan moving forward? Like, obviously the Jets are not going to be trading Elijah Moore, but if you want to hang on to him, then what's the plan? I mean, what if this happens next week? What if Elijah Moore, I mean, I feel crazy for saying this, but I kind of feel like we have to ask these questions. What if he goes to Twitter again? What if he has another outburst? Maybe the opposite happens. Maybe he says, you know what, let me rescind that request. You know what, I understand. I've cooled down for a week and I'll play within the offense. That could definitely happen, right? For sure. But there's a chance that this could happen again. Maybe he does quit in the future. I don't know. I think right now it's just a little weird. The whole entire situation is just totally strange. Totally strange. I got somebody knocking on the door. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Basically, what I was saying was I don't like being in this weird gray period where we just don't know what Elijah's going to be doing next. Is he going to be putting out more cryptic tweets? It wouldn't surprise me. Is he going to quit on a future practice post trade deadline? Is he going to pull back the trade request and say, hey, you know what? Maybe that was a little rash. Maybe I was a little quick to the trigger on that one. Yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, I want to contribute more. Yes, I want the football, but we're winning football games. There's a chance to make the playoffs here. Let me put my ego aside, at least for the rest of the season, and let's revisit it in the offseason. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep winning games here. So the bottom line is this. I want players. I think it was really important from transitioning from Gase to Saleh that this team got players that really want to play for the Jets, that really want to turn this thing around, right? I mean, we look at a guy like Vinny Curry, who I feel like has missed so much time with the Jets, and he literally had like a life-threatening thing going on, and he suited up for the green and white last week. I mean, how awesome is that? This guy's a grinder. Carl Lawson coming back from his injury. I mean, we can Braxton Berrios, he was brought back on a multi-year deal. His numbers aren't great, but is he in a position where he's requesting a trade? I mean, if you probably asked him honestly, like, hey man, do you wish you got the football more? Did you wish you contributed more to this Jets offense? The answer is probably yeah, for sure. But he's not at the point where he's freaking out at practice and doing all these different things, trade requests and tweets and stuff like that. It's not really that he's not taking it that far. Again, I want players to be here. I think guys like Berrios and Corey Davis, Corey Davis has really been involved some weeks, and then he, like that Steelers game, and then there's been games where he's been pretty quiet, and this goes back to last season as well. Like, there's been highs and lows with Corey Davis as far as, productivity from a week-to-week basis, but you don't see Corey taking it this far. Like Jamal Adams said, I want dogs. I want good, talented players that really want to turn this thing around, that don't flip their hands up and say, hey, I'm out of here. I'm not getting the football. See ya. Doesn't matter what our record is. Doesn't matter, what the trajectory is for this football team. Doesn't matter if there's a possible AFC East crown on the line. I'm not getting my catches. I'm out. So it is what it is. And again, if I'm JD, I'm not closing the door on a potential trade. I'm not doing it. I'm leaving it open. I'm not saying I'm picking up the phone, calling all, the 31 other teams in football. Hey, we'll take anything for Elijah. Not like that at all. Not like that at all. But the line's open, right? If the Rams hit you up, or, the Packers hit you up and they're like, hey, 2nd round pick for Elijah, 3rd round pick, and maybe a future 6th round pick for Elijah, would you be open to it? I would probably, explore that avenue. I feel like the Jets are in a really, really good position where Zach Wilson can throw to Davis, throw to Berrios, throw to Garrett Wilson, throw to Tyler Conklin. Hand it off to Breece Hall and Michael Carter and the upgraded offensive line, and finally rely on a good defense. I mean, the Jets are in an awesome position here. I don't want to say that this team is going to be the exact same with Elijah Moore, but if you want to look at this, look at the same point from the opposite side of the spectrum and say, if you are in favor of trading or getting rid of Elijah at this point to try to recoup some draft picks, you can say you're not contributing, and we're 4-2. Right? We didn't even have to throw to you last week, and we won that game by 3 possessions in Lambeau Field. Virtually impossible. We all know what Aaron Rodgers' record is at home. We all know what the Packers' record is post-loss under Matt LaFleur. I mean, the Jets are doing some really, really good things this season. I don't want it to be messed up by like a simple trade request coming just. I mean, I know people have said it like this isn't random, this isn't out of left field. Frustration's been building for 6 weeks, but it's like 6 weeks is 6 weeks. Denzel Mims, on the other hand, yeah, he requested a trade, but he's paid his dues. Like, I feel like he kind of he has some solid, some concrete answers from the coaching staff saying, you know what, you might not be the best fit in the offense. We don't really know what the future holds for you here. There's guys that we like a little bit better that might fit the scheme a little bit more that are in front of you. So from Mims' perspective, and by the way, Mims, is still a young, talented guy. I want him to succeed. I really, really do. But I just feel like him and Elijah's, their positions are completely different. So I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm still shocked about this whole thing. I really, really am. I mean, again, I want I want to go on Elijah Moore's Twitter and see him just, basically just say like, hey, I love all my teammates. Like, let's continue winning and, doing our thing. But I don't know at this point. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.